In the beginning, there was jealousy. Then came blood, and with it, a legacy so cursed, its shadow stretches across thrones, temples, and bloodlines, even today. What if the first murder wasn't just a crime, but a sacrifice? What if Qabil didn't act alone, but was guided by a whisper, ancient and malevolent? And what if the mark placed upon him wasn't punishment, but permission? This is the forbidden tale of the firstborn of man, and perhaps the first to awaken something buried deep beneath the earth. Qabil, known in the West as Cain, the first son of Adam, or so we're told. But some ancient texts whisper another possibility, that Qabil was not the son of Adam at all, but the child of a shining being. In Gnostic scriptures like the Apocalypse of Adam, Adam says, "My wife Eve conceived from the being who appeared to her, a light brighter than the sun." In Yazidi tradition, there is the tale of a forbidden union between Eve and a jinn. And in Islamic tafsir, while not explicit, some scholars entertain the idea that Iblis may have deceived Eve in ways deeper than speech. The idea is shocking, that Qabil carried not just human blood, but the fire of a fallen being, and that his very existence was a fracture. The Quran, in Surah Al-Ma'idah 5:27-31, tells the true story of Qabil and Habil, Cain and Abel. When both made an offering, one was accepted, the other rejected. And the rejected said, "I will surely kill you." Tafsir Ibn Kathir explains, Habil, sincere and obedient, sacrificed the best of his flock. Qabil, proud and arrogant, gave spoiled crops. But there's more. According to Ibn Abbas and others, the trigger wasn't just sacrifice. It was that Habil was to marry the more beautiful twin sister, per divine law. And so, jealousy, desire, and wounded pride lit the fire of murder. But behind it was Iblis. So Qabil's nafs, ego, drove him to kill his brother. Quran 5:30. But what if that murder was not only personal, but ritualistic? In esoteric circles, it's believed the first murder was a gateway, a blood offering that opened a path between the worlds. And when the earth drank Abel's blood, it remembered, for the earth itself bore witness. But after blood came shame, and then the raven. Allah sent a raven scratching the ground, showing Qabil how to bury his brother. In Sufi commentary, the raven is more than a bird. It is a symbol of divine irony, a creature lower than man, teaching man what he forgot. The raven shows that even beasts respect death, but Qabil, the son of man, did not. And so began his exile, not from land, but from light. The Bible says God placed a mark upon Cain. Islam doesn't mention a mark, but speaks of a split, a spiritual deviation. In Jewish Kabbalah, the Mark of Cain was a sigil, not of shame, but a protection from divine beings, or perhaps from watchers who walk unseen. Some Gnostic texts say that Iblis returned to Qabil in exile and made him an offer. Rule the earth, build your kingdom, and your children will inherit the stars. And so Qabil built a city. He named it Enoch, not after the prophet, but his own son. This was not a city of worship, but of dominion. where knowledge was passed, not to heal, but to rule. This Cainite bloodline becomes the architects of power, founders of the first cities, masters of metallurgy and weapons, keepers of occult knowledge passed from Iblis or the Watchers. From Cabil's line came kings who claimed to be gods, pharaohs who called themselves divine, and priesthoods who drank from veins of shadow. And if you think that bloodline vanished with ancient myths, look closer. From the Merovingians of France to Babylonian magi to the royal houses of Europe, many trace their lineage not to prophets, but to Cain's dark seed. Modern secret societies still reenact this first murder in rituals of silence, skulls, and blood. Because in their eyes, Cabil was not a criminal, he was the first rebel. The legacy of Cabil lives in the psychology of empires, in rulers who crush the weak, in ideologies that exalt the self, in nations built on conquest and sacrifice. From Nimrod to Nebuchadnezzar, from Rome to modern regimes, his spirit continues. Even in Islam, we're told, the one who kills a soul unjustly, it is as if he has slain all of mankind. Quran 5:32. And who was the first to do that? Cabil. His act was not just physical, it was spiritual architecture, a template of rebellion now repeated by tyrants and kings. What if the world today is still ruled by Cabil's descendants? Not in name, but in spirit, ritual, and blood. What if the modern elite, the shadow families, those who pull the strings behind media, war, and economy, are all reenacting the same sacrifice? What if everything, from fallen angels to political puppets, traces back to a jealous brother who listened to a whisper? But Cabil's story was only the beginning. In exile, he found refuge in a place called Nod, a land not of earth but shadow, a kingdom of jinn, watchers, and pacts signed beneath mountains, where ancient knowledge was preserved and new monstrosities were born. Subscribe to Beyond the Known, because in the next episode we descend into the forbidden past, where unholy covenants were made upon the earth, and humanity was never the same.